Kruger.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. It's always very good to be called last in these debates because it means that I get to listen to everybody else's speeches. And I've enjoyed it enormously. Very edifying it's been, particularly listening to everybody boasting about how big and beautiful their constituency are. Of course, mine constituency of Devizes is as big and beautiful as any, but more importantly, it's the oldest place in England, I suggest. In fact, I can confidently say 1066. My goodness me. In my part of Wiltshire, we were trading in the 4th millennium BC, as evidenced by archaeology recently discovered near Amesbury, near Stonehenge. There was the body of an archer discovered there who carbon dating and testing demonstrates came from somewhere in Central Europe in about 2000 BC. They obviously had some freedom of movement arrangements, which I obviously disapprove of. Didn't turn out well for the Amesbury archer, who died near Salisbury. Anyway, I mention that because we have been an economic entrepot since the dawn of time, and particularly through the Middle Ages. My part of Wiltshire was incredibly prosperous. Rose the great wave of prosperity from the wool trade, particularly. And then by about 1800, when Devizes, the town was a very important centre of the wool trade, at which point it started slowly to decline as industrialisation happened, and as the Kennet and Avon Canal that comes through the town was dug, and as Brunel was building his railway out to Bristol. These amazing industrial innovations were actually the harbinger of the economic decline of our areas. The people moved from the land into the cities. But actually, even through the 19th century, there were all sorts of important innovations and technological developments happening in our area. And I want to pay particular tribute to one of my favourite local firms, T.H. White, agricultural engineers, who've been going since 1832, now have a £100 million turnover, still based in Devizes. Still a family firm, employing people all over the country and indeed the world. And I've seen some of their amazing agricultural machines in use in our area. So what is happening now is that places that have been left behind by industrialisation are becoming viable again, and our rural economies are becoming viable and thriving places. And various other brilliant companies hidden up almost every farm track and every little backwater in our towns and little industrial estates. You find these brilliant, very modern, very high-tech firms. I think of Varivane, who make kit for the Royal Navy. Most of our frigates have been kitted out by this little firm on an industrial estate in Devizes. Or just outside Marlborough, there's a firm that I visited the other day called Design 360, which makes really amazing lighting. And it's run by a man who just noticed when he was growing up in the area, everything seemed to be made in China. And he said, why does everything have to be made in China? And he's dedicated himself to developing a business in Wiltshire that makes the best possible kit at good prices, employing local people. And that's what he's doing. We have all sorts of other amazing industries, particularly in the agricultural agri-tech space. AI that can monitor the multitude of different crops in a field, so we can get away from the whole monoculture model of farming and have a whole variety of crops being grown in the same place, monitor the health, millions of different plants being monitored through AI. We have vertical farming industries. We're developing models of developing protein that can be a massive British export, feed the urban populations of the world. But it's not all high-tech, and I don't think that we should think of the rural economy of the future as being all about these really whizzy new technologies. Actually, the future could and should look much like the past did, and I particularly want to see a revival of local food processing. I think that's should be one of our great ambitions in this space. It feels all wrong that that farmers have to send their produce miles and miles away for processing, disappears into other regions of the country. If it comes back into Wiltshire at all, it's in packages from some other firm. Why don't we have shorter food journeys and good local processing like they do in other countries? And I don't think, by the way, and I totally endorse everything that's been said about the importance of food security and the opportunity that ELMS brings us to enhance food, the production of food as part of the public goods regime that we have. I don't think there's any conflict between supporting the environment and supporting growth. But we do need to recognise that the production of food is the primary objective of farmers. And I would say food security is more important than enhancing global trade. I would prioritise that over these trade deals. So to summarise or to conclude quickly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, how to help. There's everything I agree with about the importance of supporting through energy, talk about VAT and rates relief, particularly for pubs and brewers. But I want to mention a few things very quickly. Skills. We export too many young people. We have a culture of HE. We should invest more in FE. I'd like to see, Wiltshire College is a brilliant institution locally. I'd like to see more support there. Everything I echo about housing. I think we need more housing in our local villages. No to the 5-year land supply rule. Every village should be able to build more houses without having to use that rule. Connectivity, more broadband. We're going to get a train station in Devizes, thankfully, I'm confident. Agree about demand responsive buses. No to HGVs, echo the point made by my friend from Buckingham. We've got to improve that. And then planning. Lastly, to mention this brilliant firm run by the Copleston family, Poulton Technology. They want to build this amazing factory to create undersea technology for fixing pipes. They can't do it. They haven't do it in Saudi Arabia because the planning doesn't allow the space in the UK, and that's what we need. Thank you, sir.